Hello everyone. Please tell me what you think of this. I read an article that said that, wait for it, damp doesn't affect arthritis. I had to reread it again because it's ludicrous. This article was from Harvard of all places. What? I'm going to make a wild guess that this person doesn't have arthritis. They certainly don't know anyone with it. If they do, then they must have something so much worse that it pales in comparison to whatever else they have. Because this is just stupid. With my experience, which I have had since the age of 7, any time that I have gone near the damp, I have paid for it with pain and suffering. It didn't matter if it was the rain. It didn't matter if it was a shower. It didn't matter if I was going swimming. It didn't matter the temperature because I can go out in the cold and be fine as long as it's dry. I can even go out in the snow as long as there's no dampness at the time. And it's just thick blankets of snow. But you don't really see that anymore. It's rare. However, holding snow would be a problem even with gloves because it melts and becomes water. The problem was that at the age of 7, I was a child and no one believed I had arthritis. Plus, because of being autistic and undiagnosed, I couldn't articulate how I felt, so most of the time they thought I was trying to skive because everyone knew I was bullied. They just thought I was hiding, which is funny because even though I was being bullied at school, I loved learning because it was the only thing I could do, and well. So I took the doctor's word because they said it must be growing pains and got on with my life. However, these growing pains only seemed to occur if I was rained on or put a lot of pressure on my joints or if I was going through certain times of the month. Regarding rain, it didn't matter whether I was inside or outside, although obviously it's worse if I'm out in it. This person seems really proud of their findings. Maybe I'm wrong or maybe I'm an anomaly. However, if it really is just herd mentality and we are just influenced by behaviour, then what about my dog? He had to go out to the loo whatever the weather, including rain and snow. He hated the rain, but he loved the snow. Either way, he would come in whatever the weather. If it was damp, he'd beg me to rub his joints until they were better. He would shake and cry and whinge and take his very wet paws, plonk them on my lap, then just look at me like a child does when they have a cut knee and they want you to make it better. And I don't know if it's because my dog was unneutered, but he would try to act tough, especially around the females, even if it meant that he had to come home and act like a baby and beg me to rub his joints for him afterwards, including trying to steal my hot water bottle because it relieves the joint pain. Excuse me, human beings can argue about being influenced. Animals cannot. There is a huge difference between them walking around with a limp because they think they're in trouble and having to go out in the rain, having the pain hit them, and then having to have medicine to get rid of it, including but not limited to paracetamol, massage, and the like. Also, if it really was fake, then the stairs would not be such an issue. But if you saw him walking up the stairs or begging to be carried after he comes in from the rain, you would realise that that is not fake. And it's not as if I can collude with him and whisper in his little flappy ear and tell him to act really decrepit. And for me, it doesn't even matter if it's drizzling or if it's about to rain or if it's actually raining. It hurts all the same. And this doctor wants to sit there and say with sheer confidence how arthritis is not affected by the rain. I still say that's ridiculous because how you've not come across an old person or just someone who has pain, I don't know where you're living. I don't know what kind of atmosphere you live in. Possibly out of space because it doesn't make sense. Long story short, Humidity hurts. I can cope with really hot as long as it's dry, which is why I don't go near saunas. I can cope with cold, windy days as long as it's dry. Are we seeing a pattern here? And by the way, it doesn't matter if it's raining or if it still has water on the ground. You will not catch me in that situation. People have asked me before, what happens if you wrap up against the elements? Nothing changes. I still have to breathe in the atmosphere unless I'm in a spacesuit where nothing can get in. It's not going to work. The only other option would be for a car to drive into the house, pick me up, make sure all the doors are shut, drive me to my destination, then drive inside that destination, wait until I've got out and all the doors are shut, and then drive back out when I'm far away so that the rain cannot affect me. We know that is not a possible thing people do. Therefore, I don't go out in the damp. And unfortunately, it doesn't just stick with my joints, it infects my entire nervous system for the entire day, sometimes for the rest of the week. And worse if I have to try and work through it. I know that people with arthritis are suggested to not sit still when you're in pain, but you have to when you're going through this. At least for me, trying to exercise with it makes it worse and makes it last longer. It also triggers my fibromyalgia, headaches, migraines and other things. In fact, sometimes the pain has become so bad that it's like my body becomes completely numb as a way of protecting me from the agony that could be. And yes, that does include the bathroom and the water in the bath, because again, there's humidity. It's just like the sauna. And yeah, everyone's base zero is going to be different from someone else's, but such an outlandish statement is what annoys me. Doctors used to say that smoking was good for you because it made you lose weight and it curbs your appetite. Both things individually are true, but that doesn't make them healthy. In fact, if I have to go out in the rain, my neck can swell up, which can make it difficult to breathe, and that is not a myth. Personally, unless you suffer with it or have experienced people with it, you can't really say that. If you're still here, then you're handsome and you're beautiful and you, well, I'm speechless. I'll let you know next time I see you. Over to the pets. Hello all, this is Sylvie. If you liked what you saw, then subscribe for more. Hey everyone, my name's Bonjo. If you enjoyed yourself, then give it a thumbs up and share it with all your friends. Hi everybody, I'm Jack, and if you had fun, then comment down below and let my mum know if you know any arthritic people.